The Reformed teaching that we're talking about today is a tough one to think about, but it is also a treasure. It is mysterious, but it is also majestic. And I believe after you wrestle through it, you will come to understand better the amazing grace of God. And that will cause you to love the Lord even more for His sovereign grace. I believe once we come to grips with it, we will recognize our place compared to God. We will have better perspective on who we are. We will approach God with true humility and give God all the glory that He deserves. Today we're going to talk about the teaching, which is really a beautiful truth, called predestination, or you can also call it God's sovereign grace. And John Calvin just has a few chapters on it. He doesn't have a ton of pages on it, but it is in the scriptures. It is a biblical teaching. So therefore, Calvin thinks it is right to teach us through the Institutes. And this is what he says. Jacob, therefore, is chosen and distinguished from the rejected Esau by God's predestination, while not differing from him in merits. If you ask the reason, the apostle gives this. For he says to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I have mercy, and I have compassion on whom I have compassion. And that is straight from Romans 9:15. And what does this mean, I ask? It is simply the Lord's clear declaration that He finds in men themselves no reason to bless them, but takes it from His mercy alone. That's from Romans 9:16. Therefore, the salvation of His own is His own work, inasmuch as God establishes your salvation in Himself alone. Why do you descend to yourself, since He appoints for you His mercy alone? Why do you have recourse to your own merits, seeing that He confines your thought within His mercy alone? Why do you turn your attention in part to your own works? And by those questions, Calvin is really questioning if we think our salvation is because of our works or our faith or our desire, why are we descending the focus to us instead of giving God the glory and the focus? It's like if we were on stage with Jesus Himself and the spotlight was on us, we'd be like, no, look at Him. He is the one that gives us salvation. And in my journey, I remember really struggling with this teaching. Growing up in a Reformed church, I heard about it, I knew about it, but I remember in college, I was sitting in my dorm room with 5 of my friends arguing against this beautiful doctrine of predestination. But going to seminary, studying the scriptures, seeing what Romans and Ephesians and John says, I really believe this displays and reveals to us God's sovereign grace. And I really hope that this will increase our love for God and our trust in His sovereign plan.